There's a truth that most people never hear until it's too late. A truth that the wealthy have lived by for centuries while the rest of the world keeps chasing the wrong prize. It's this: everything you own is either working for you or working against you. Every car, every house, every dollar, every decision is either feeding your freedom or feeding your chains. And here's the brutal part. Most people are feeding their chains. They're surrounded by liabilities that drain them, that pull money, time, and energy out of their lives every single day. They call these liabilities status. They call them investments. They even call them rewards. But a chain by any other name is still a chain. If you want to be free, if you want to build wealth that lasts beyond your own lifetime, you must do what most people will never do. You must turn every liability into an asset. Think of your life as a great machine. Some parts power it forward. These are your assets. They create, they produce, they multiply. Other parts slow it down. These are your liabilities. They consume, they drain, they demand. The average person spends their whole life adding weight to the slowing parts, wondering why the machine never accelerates. They blame the system, they blame their job, they blame bad luck. But the truth is, it's not the size of the engine that matters, it's the way the power is managed. You could be earning 10 times what you earn today and still be broke if your power leaks through liabilities. And you could be earning half of what you earn today and be on the path to freedom if you've turned enough liabilities into assets. This is what the rich have always understood. They look at the world through a different lens. Where most people see an expense, they see an opportunity. Where most people see something that costs money, they ask, how can I make it produce money? When Rockefeller built his oil empire, he didn't see barrels and refineries as costs. He saw them as assets that could fuel everything else he built. When Carnegie invested in steel, he didn't just buy factories, he built systems that multiplied output beyond what anyone thought possible. When Walt Disney bought land in the middle of Florida swamps, the world thought it was a liability. He turned it into one of the most profitable assets in history. Turning a liability into an asset begins with one skill: seeing value where others see loss. Your house. If it's only costing you money, it's a liability. Rent part of it out. Use it for a business. Leverage it to acquire income-producing property. Your car. If it's only taking money out of your pocket, it's a liability. Turn it into a rideshare income stream. Wrap it in advertising and get paid to drive. Use it to deliver goods that generate profit. Even your skills, if they sit unused, they are wasted potential. But package them, sell them, teach them, multiply them, and they become assets that will keep paying you long after the first effort. The shift begins in the mind. You stop asking, can I afford this, and start asking, how can this afford me? This is the question that turns dreamers into doers and doers into builders. It's the question that transforms your phone from a distraction into a business hub. It's the question that turns your spare time into the seedbed of your next income stream. It's the question that takes you from being a consumer of the world to being a creator in it. But let's be honest, most people never make this shift because it requires discipline. It's easier to buy and consume than to create and convert. It's easier to say I can't than to ask, how can I? This is why the world is full of people who have closets full of clothes but nothing in their investment accounts. People who drive cars worth more than the businesses they own. People who live in houses that impress strangers but imprison their own future. Turning liabilities into assets is not about deprivation. It's about transformation. It's about making sure that everything in your life, from your possessions to your passions, is aligned with one mission: to produce more than it consumes. And here's the most powerful part: once you learn to do this, with one thing you begin to see it everywhere. The spare bedroom becomes an Airbnb rental. The hobby becomes a side business. The social media account becomes a marketing channel. The extra money you used to spend without thinking becomes seed capital for something that pays you back. You stop living like a consumer and start moving like an investor. And once that shift happens, your liabilities stop being anchors and start becoming engines. Because here's the truth. The goal is not to own nothing. The goal is to own everything, but make sure everything you own works for you. If it doesn't, it's just a chain. And the longer you wear it, the harder it is to break free. Break the chain now. Look at every part of your life and ask, how do I make this pay me instead of drain me? Turn every liability into an asset, and you will never live broke again. Mindset is the foundation, Before you touch a single dollar, before you make a single move, you must build the mind that can hold wealth. Because wealth without the mindset to sustain it will slip through your fingers faster than water through an open hand. This is why lottery winners go broke. Why professional athletes after years of multi-million-dollar contracts find themselves working jobs they hate. They had money, but they didn't have the mind to master it. The right mindset rewires how you see the world. It doesn't just look at what something costs, it looks at what it can return. It doesn't just see expenses, it sees potential streams of income hidden in plain sight. The wrong mindset buys a car for how it looks. The right mindset buys a car for how it works, not just on the road, but in your financial strategy. The wrong mindset sees a house as a place to spend money. The right mindset sees a house as an asset to create money renting, leveraging, repurposing, multiplying. Mindset is the lens, and if your lens is fogged with consumer thinking, you will always be blind to the opportunities that could set you free. Belief is the ignition. You can have the sharpest strategy in the world, but if you do not believe that you can take control of your financial life, you will hesitate until the opportunity is gone. Belief is not wishful thinking. Belief is a decision. It's the moment you stand in front of the mirror and say, "No more excuses. I will master what others fear to face. I will take what drains me and make it feed me." Edison believed light could come from a filament no one else could make work. Carnegie believed steel could rebuild a nation. Disney believed a swamp could become a kingdom. Their belief wasn't just in the idea, it was in themselves. They believed they had the discipline to outlast the failures, the clarity to adapt when plans changed, and the courage to act before the world gave permission. Belief is what separates the majority from the masters. It's not your job title. It's not your education. It's not your connections. It's the voice inside that refuses to let you remain the same. Clarity is the compass. You cannot turn a liability into an asset if you don't even know what you own, if you can't see the full map of your finances, if you don't track the flow of your money with ruthless honesty. Clarity strips away the fog. It shows you the truth, what's feeding you and what's starving you. It means writing down every expense, every payment, every dollar that leaves your hands. And asking, is this an engine or is this an anchor? Clarity hurts at first. It forces you to face the damage you've done through ignorance or avoidance. It shows you the patterns that have kept you trapped. But it also reveals the opportunities that were invisible before. It shows you exactly which liabilities can be flipped into assets first, where the smallest change can make the biggest impact. Without clarity, you will drift. With clarity, you will drive. Vision is the destination. Once your mind is ready, once you believe, once you see clearly, you must decide where you're going. Not vaguely, not someday. The wealthy don't operate on wishes. They operate on blueprints. A vision is a detailed picture of the life you are building and the assets that will sustain it. It's not "I want more money," it's "I want my rentals to cover my living expenses in 5 years." It's not "I want to be free," it's "I want my business to run without me, so I can spend my time on what matters most." Vision is what stops you from wasting energy on moves that look good, but don't lead anywhere. It's what keeps you building the dam higher when you feel tired. It's what keeps you converting liabilities into assets even when no one else understands. Because you're not building for applause, you're building for arrival. Purpose is the fuel. Without it, your vision will fade. Without it, your belief will weaken. Without it, your clarity will feel like a burden instead of a gift. Purpose answers the question, why am I doing this? And if your only answer is to make money, you won't make it far. Money alone is not enough to keep you moving through the sacrifice, through the temptation, through the long nights and the setbacks. Purpose is deeper. Purpose is freedom for your family. Purpose is dignity in your old age. Purpose is breaking a generational chain of poverty and passing down a river of wealth instead. Purpose will keep you building when the world tells you to quit. It will remind you that every liability you turn into an asset is not just a financial move. It's a step toward a legacy. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It is the daily practice of making the hard choice now for the easy life later. It is the refusal to let temporary comfort rob you of permanent freedom. Discipline is not glamorous. It is the quiet act of saying no when no one is watching. It is the spreadsheet you update after a long day. It is the decision to put extra cash into your investment account instead of into something that will be forgotten in 6 months. The truth is, you will be tempted every day to drift back into consumer thinking. The world is built to pull you into that current. Shiny ad sales, you can't miss friends who mock your frugality because it makes them uncomfortable with their own spending habits. Without discipline, you'll give in. With discipline, you'll hold the line. Discipline is what allows you to turn that spare room into an income stream instead of just more storage. It's what pushes you to rent out the equipment you own instead of letting it collect dust. It's what makes you track your liabilities until they begin producing instead of draining. Every small act of discipline is a brick in the foundation of your future. And one day that foundation will be so strong that no storm can break it. Action is the engine. You can have the right mindset, deep belief, perfect clarity, and a detailed vision, but without action, you have nothing. Action means you don't just think about renting that property, you list it. You don't just research a side business, you start it. You don't just talk about investing, you make the first move even if it's small. Action turns theory into reality. It teaches you through doing what no amount of reading or listening ever will. It shows you where your plan needs adjustment. It builds momentum, and momentum is the most powerful force you can have on your side. Every asset you own today exists because at some point someone took action. They didn't wait for the perfect time, they created it. They didn't wait for all the answers, they learned them along the way. You don't need the whole staircase, you just need to take the first step. And then another. And another. The moment you act, the game changes. Gratitude is the anchor. When you begin to see progress, when your liabilities start turning into assets, when your river begins to flow, you must anchor yourself in gratitude or you will drift into greed. Gratitude keeps you humble enough to keep learning. It keeps you focused on building, not flaunting. It reminds you that the things you own are tools, not trophies. A grateful mind protects you from the trap of constantly comparing yourself to others. It shifts your focus from "I need more" to "be happy" to "I'm happy and I'm building more with purpose." Gratitude doesn't mean settling for less. It means honoring what you have while still working toward what you want. It's the quiet satisfaction of knowing you're moving in the right direction, even if you're not there yet. Adaptability is the shield. No plan survives unchanged. Markets shift. Regulations change. Technology disrupts industries overnight. Your personal circumstances can change in an instant. If you cannot adapt, you will break. The wealthy don't fear change, they use it. They watch for trends. They pivot when an old asset stops producing. They shift strategies when new opportunities emerge. Adaptability is what turns potential disaster into a new income stream. It's the ability to turn a sudden expense into a new service you offer. It's seeing a drop in one revenue source and building 2 new ones in its place. If discipline keeps you steady, adaptability keeps you alive. Resilience is the unshakable core. Because here's the truth. You will fail at some point. A liability you thought would become an asset might not work the way you planned. A deal might collapse. An investment might underperform. Most people quit here. They see failure as a wall, not a step. But resilience takes the hit, learns the lesson, and builds again, stronger, smarter, faster. Resilience is the understanding that the game is not about avoiding losses entirely, but about ensuring your wins outnumber and outlast your losses. The most powerful rivers cut through rock, not because of strength, but because of persistence. Be that river. And now we come to the moment where all of it, the mindset, the belief, the clarity, the vision, the purpose, the discipline, the action, the gratitude, the adaptability, the resilience becomes more than words. It becomes a choice. From this moment forward, you will look at every single thing in your life and ask one question. Does this drain me, or does it feed me? If it drains you, you will find a way to make it feed you. You will not allow anything in your possession to take without giving back. You will turn every liability into a soldier working for your freedom. And one day you will look around and realize you own nothing that works against you. Every part of your life has been transformed into an asset. At that moment, you won't just be wealthy, you will be untouchable. Because no matter what happens in the world, your machine will keep running, your river will keep flowing, and your future will keep growing. That is the power you were meant to have. That is the freedom you were born to claim. So hear it one last time, as a command, as a promise, as a call to action. that cannot be ignored. Turn every liability into a money-making asset, and nothing will ever own you again. There is a moment in life when you stop being owned and you start owning. When you stop being controlled by what you have and you start controlling what it does for you. That moment is not defined by the size of your bank account or the car you drive or the address on your mailbox. It is defined by this truth: you have turned every liability in your life into an asset. From that moment on, nothing you own works against you. Every possession, every skill, every connection, every resource becomes part of your army. An army that produces, multiplies, and protects your future. This is not a dream. It is a design, and you are the architect. Think about the power in that transformation. The house that once drained you, now it pays you. The car that once cost you, now it earns for you. The skill you once ignored, now it's a source of income that never sleeps. This is not luck. It's not a miracle. It's not being in the right place at the right time. It's a mindset, a decision, a discipline you build day after day until it becomes who you are. And when it becomes who you are, you no longer fear bills because you have assets to cover them. You no longer fear change because you can adapt. You no longer fear loss because you can rebuild. But here's the truth they don't teach you. Most people could start this transformation today, and they won't. They will cling to their liabilities like trophies. They will defend their draining habits because it's easier than changing them. They will buy to impress instead of buying to invest. And years from now, they will still be working for things that give nothing back. That will not be you. Because you understand now, liabilities are not fixed in stone. They can be reshaped. They can be rebuilt. They can be transformed into assets that work for you while you sleep. And when you commit to that, everything changes. Picture your life 5 years from now. Every liability you own today, transformed. Your home generating income, your skills monetized, your network producing opportunities, your time invested only in things that multiply. This is not fantasy. It is a result. The result of you making one choice over and over: this will not drain me. This will feed me. And when you make that choice long enough, the day will come when you stand in a life you designed entirely. From this moment forward, you will see the world differently. You will look at every possession and every expense as a challenge. How do I make this produce? You will refuse to hold anything that works against you. You will train your mind to hunt for opportunity in every corner of your life. You will not waste. You will not drift. You will not allow the current of consumption to pull you under. You will stand on the riverbank of your future and watch the flow you've built strong, steady, unstoppable. And you will know you are no longer owned by your liabilities. You own them, you control them, and they work for you. That is freedom. That is power. That is your legacy. So hear it one last time, with no hesitation, no doubt, no retreat. Turn every liability into a money-making asset, and nothing will ever own you again.